What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Domuto. We back with another video today. We're watching Ultra Vegito. Call me RJ. Call me Rj, I'm tripping. Been a minute. The Grand Prix meets Ultra Vegito's new form. I know y'all been waiting for this. I know. I'm sorry. Been a lot going on, so we about to get into it, man. Yeah, let's go.
So our story begins with the Grand Priest in his new Seraphim form, with his palm left out after having just completely smited and erased Ultra Lucifer, and in turn our beloved Vegito, as laying before him now would just be the smoky remnants of the Saiyan's charred body. And when we zoom out, this would be no trick, nor illusion. No moment for the God Killer to begin laughing and suddenly appear as he usually does, as for the first time at the hand of the Supreme Angel, Vegito is no more. But more than likely, not surprised in the least, the cold Daishinkan, who may bear the slightest bit of remorse over annihilating his brother, would just let out, Lucifer, my dear older brother, so much potential wasted. It's a shame, really. I lived in your shadow for so long, and it would have been a sweet release to have defeated you at your full power. But as long as that damn Saiyan failed to give in to you fully, the more futile this attempt began to be. A mortal will never triumph over a god. But as Dai would make this cold statement into the warm smoke, he eventually would let off a smile and continue. But regardless, hindsight is 2020. I'm just surprised you would even bother the way you were. You put on a good show at least for Lord Zeno. Find solace in that, right, my lord? As behind the Daishinkan, a tiny toddler we all know would also be observing, but his reaction would be far from emotionless. No! My fun is gone! As literally bawling from his eyes as if he had lost his own family member, wiping away tears, the Omni King would mutter, You won too fast, Dai! I didn't even get to see his new form. Your form isn't cool at all.
Damn.
No! Vegito! But on the complete other end of the spectrum, Seraphim Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta would be experiencing an entirely different emotion altogether, both in complete shock and despair as they realize the vanishing of Vegito's life force, and thus their only chance of ever fulfilling their now near lifelong goal. As with their mouths wide open, Goku would mutter, No! There's no way! Dai! He completely erased him that easily! And Vegeta, with his eyes popping out, would let out, Kakarot! We failed! We lost Vegito! And with the tone now turned somber, the shock would devolve back down to complete sorrow, as the consequences of losing Vegito would finally begin to hit the two warriors, with Goku first, with his single wing fluttering down and his eyes becoming dead to look at, would stare straight and whisper, "What What do we do now? All those
Yeah, I gotta turn
years, all our training, it all means nothing without Vegito. It was all for nothing. Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, I'm sorry. I couldn't bring you back. Krillin, I couldn't save you. Pan, Bulma. While matching Goku, Vegeta also would be left emotionally helpless, as he would reflect. I knew it! I knew we were chasing a full stream! I knew we couldn't just rely on Vegito! Why wouldn't that clown just absorb our power? If he did, maybe we wouldn't be in this position. And now, you're all gone, Trunks, Bulla, and it's all your fault, Vegito! It's all your... But cutting short the thoughts, instantly, the two Saiyans
shit.
would lose themselves in rage, both screaming to the top of their lungs as their eyes burst open, along with their mouths, creating powerful aura and lightning that encircles both of them as their energy pushes everything and everyone around them further and further away, with Goku's screams culminating in, I won't let this be the end! And Vegeta's, I'm bringing her back! And just like that, the games would be over, as Goku reaches his most powerful form, his Super Saiyan 2 infused full Seraphim form, complete with both angel wings now, as his cyan eyes glow and pulsate wildly like their own light source, as still, with his voice raised, he would proclaim, You're all going to make this right! You're all going to bring them back! And conversely, Vegeta too would enter his final form, as the true demon of destruction, Vegeta, would then jump several steps up, as now both of his blackened wings would sprout out, along with 2 demon horns, 2 dark purple scars, and a bevy of Hakaishin symbols to match, as with his eyes, now with a unique pupil of his own, glowing purple, Vegeta would let out, One thing's for sure, I'm not giving up without a fight, you damn gods! You may have taken out one demon, but another rises! Z! I know, brother. These transformations instantly then taking both Z and S aback as they look on with pure confusion at their sudden change, never having seen firsthand neither what Goku had become in his full Seraphim, nor the demonic abomination Vegeta had now obtained. What the? But far more surprised would be God of Destruction Goku, who positively would be shell-shocked by the sudden change and jump in Vegeta's power and appearance, as at first, with wide eyes, he would mutter, Vegeta, that's what this timeline did to you? You don't even look like a Saiyan anymore. Before, with a more calmed face, he would then continue, but I always knew this wasn't going to be easy. Master trained me for this exact moment.
Okay.
When I would face the demon known as the God Killer. I guess I'll just have to finally use that.
What's that here?
Huh? But despite the foreshadowing words, all would be cut short when true demon of destruction Vegeta would suddenly appear behind the destroyer at speed, with both his arms already pulled back together, saying, "This was fun while it lasted, Kakarot, but I think inside you knew who the victor here would be all along. Things just got serious, and I have no more time for these games.
Oh shit.
Sorry for your loss, but it will not be you who gets any justice here. And you know, without Vegito, it may not even be me either." Huh? As with a lightning fast and precise strike, Vegeta would then slam Goku from behind in a familiar scene from the past that this Goku had never experienced. Losing consciousness seemingly almost instantly as his eyes go blank, before, with a thud on the ground, his now lifeless body would slam face first onto the floor. And like a cold-blooded killer, not looking back twice, Vegeta would then immediately shoot up into the sky, leaving the destroyer Goku passed out on the ground, seemingly defeated already. Huh? But as one Goku would be down for the count, another, on an entirely different level, would suddenly appear before the two royal guards, surprising both with his undetected speed. And with a completely dead look on his face, as if having no more time for any more trivialities or usual playful behavior, with his cold cyan eyes piercing into their souls, he'd let out, "I made a mistake trying to test my abilities against yours, and because of that, I've lost Vegito. This fight is no longer about you two, and I think we both know by now whose Seraphim ability is stronger. Thanks for the training, but I'm ready for die now. Goodbye, you two." As quickly raising his arms once again into the sky, Goku would then seemingly once more prepare to unleash his dragon smite, but now in an even more powerful form. There's no way! Leaving S up top perplexed as he comments, "Another smite? This soon? And without powering up again? Where did this mortal learn all this?"
Don't worry about it.
While a wide-eyed Z would comment, He must be bluffing, brother. His energy has to have dipped by now." But unrelenting in his words and actions, Goku would just look at them and reaffirm, "Believe what you want to believe. You guys tend to always just expect so little from us mortals. Keep thinking like that. This will all be over in a second anyway." As on the instant Goku would finish saying this, a divine portal would open right above their none the wiser heads. "What? Brother, is that?" Leaving Z now staring up even more shocked as S trails behind, still disbelieving, saying, "Stand your ground, brother! This damn mortal cannot..." No! As in a flash, before S could even begin enunciating the next syllable, from the sky, a truly horrifying, gigantic cyan dragon covered in divine lightning and thunder would strike like a snake, rushing already bursting through the previously small hole with Z and S pretty much already within its jaw's grasp until... Brother! In one final cataclysmic explosion, C and S would be frozen in time, as their bodies are lost in the divine light, only able to call out to each other before exploding violently into the ground with no remorse. Both taken out at the very same time by the mortal Son Goku. That should keep them down long enough.
Shit, okay, Goku.
But when we peer back to Goku, it would seem rather than annihilating them entirely, the Saiyan would believe he had just slowed them down. As behind him, the purple energy of Vegeta would be seen flying forward to a certain deity. And now quickly catching up, Seraphim Goku and true demon of destruction Vegeta would both, animated with anger and fury, shoot forward at unimaginable speed together. 2 Saiyans, 4 wings, but with one grand priest in their sights to destroy once and for all, to avenge Vegito and finish their mission. With Vegeta mid-flight yelling, Kakarot, this is the one time I will fight alongside you! Make it count and bring this midget down! As Goku yelling back would respond, whatever you want, Vegeta. We do this for planet Earth!
Okay.
And soon enough, in tandem, both legendary warriors would approach Dai from both sides, trapping him in, hoping to catch him off guard in at least one direction. Woo! Go, Son Goku! As the finally completely full of excitement once more, Lord Zeno would then pump his fist into the air as if supporting the two mortals, yelling, Look at them go! They look so cool now! I want wings too! But on the other side, their actual target, Dai, would remain totally unconvinced. His hands still behind his back, despite noticing them and their new power, as he would just coldly stare and whisper. And now Lucif has fallen. The desperation of these ants emerges. They too have followed lead and become delusional enough to think they could stand before me. This is truly a mockery and a sin that will not be forgiven.
Oh, shit.
But soon enough, the coldness would shift to a cocky smirk, as the transformed priest would then close his eyes and remark, Alas, who am I to judge their eagerness to join the demons with brother? At the very least, they are bringing an end finally to this circus show, and right before Lord Zeno's eyes. In the end, I was always going to be the closing act. As refraining from needing to even open his eyes, almost in slow motion, the priest would then proceed to bring his right hand up, with the most calm and collected of mannerisms. And once his palm would be in front of him in classic angel fighting stance, albeit with his other hand behind his back. On the other end, the 2 vicious Saiyans who are fighting for their very lives, past, present and future, would become nearly face to face. But just as he prepares to confront them, suddenly, a dark hand, as if from thin air, would grab tightly onto the wrist of the priest,
Vegito.
undetected, but then suddenly let go. With Dai just briefly thinking, what in the name of? As feeling the grip on his wrist, but with no presence or visible figure beside him, he would stare at his palm and think, my arm malfunctioning? What the devil happened there? What is this? Before quickly, like a mere child, his short arm would be whipped back by force and uncontrollably held there. Something else is here! But just as Dai would begin to catch on that this was no internal issue, but more the work of another foe on the battlefield.
Okay.
Brutally, with his defenses down and his attention elsewhere, both Goku and Vegeta would land a strike milliseconds after the other on each cheek of the priest, sending his head flinging from one side to another for an insane whiplash, with Vegeta yelling, "That's it! We got him!" and Goku yelling, "Haha! Keep going! We got this, Vegeta!" But as Goku would have success with his fellow Saiyan on one end of the battlefield, on the other end, Z and S would be making a return, slowly pushing their charred and smoking bodies up while grunting, having survived the all-powerful smite just as Goku had thought. At first, focusing on their own anguish before... What? Die! Before Z would notice in the sky that Dai was not only under attack, but had just been struck, with the guard muttering, "There's no way! Those two cockroaches landed an attack on Master Dai!" As finally, S2 would look up and realize the commotion up above. Brother! We cannot stand around! We must help Dai and few. But their sudden charge of energy and heroic bravery would soon come to a halt, when Z's voice would go silent and his body would begin to tremble as if under great pressure. Behind him, only darkness would be seen, as two blood-red eyes would then open. And with his quivering lip, he would just mutter, This presence, it's too much." And just as Dai was grabbed by her seemingly invisible foe, the frozen still Z would then be slammed with a kick from behind, sending the one-winged angel flying forward. Until eventually, as if perfectly calculated, slamming directly into his still down brother, almost to disable both once more. But meanwhile, the still being assaulted non-stop priest would find himself still in disarray after the strange figure pulled his arm back, as even while under attack, he would angrily introspect, "I must know at once who or what pulled my arm back like that so easily. Is it Zeno?" But eventually, as the priest would begin pulling his hands back down, he would soon assess the situation in front of him, saying, "You two have messed up laying a hand on me. Now you too will join your brethren! As pulling his leg back, Dai would make his move, perfectly dodging through both of the Saiyan's attacks now, until when Dai would finally launch his kick, it would suddenly come to a halt, as if having hit an invisible wall, surprising everyone once again, with Vegeta just mumbling, Kakarot, he stopped! And Goku just going along, yeah.
Okay.
What
Vegito back, son.
is going on here? But now beginning to truly panic and think hard on what could possibly be happening to him, with still no sign or clue around him, Dai's mind would become preoccupied once more. But a giggling Vegeta would be the first to notice, letting out with a devilish smile. It seems the great priest was all bark and no bite after all. Perhaps he has finally recognized our true power, Kakarot.
Got another hit in.
And just like that, would then take the chance and slam yet another devastating fist into the still deep in thought priest, utterly morphing his face as it concaves in the process, with Dai just whispering, You... Me what, midget? And now feeling himself, recognizing the damage he is dealing just by himself, the prince would comment hastily, You know what? Maybe I doubted myself a little too much. I am the Prince of all Saiyans, aren't I? We won't need Vegito after all, it seems. But the Supreme God, now triggered by the second attack on himself by a mere mortal, would soon become enraged, gritting his teeth as a line of blood would fall, saying, The insolence, the delusion, the mockery, I will not have it anymore! And with one more gigantic deep roar, the priest would establish his dominance once more, powering up again with his aura bursting forward and across in all directions, surely getting rid of whatever or whoever seemed to be getting in the way of his attacks in the process. And this power-up would be far from a joke, showing the two Saiyans for the first time the difference in levels between them and a supreme entity like the priest, as a bright, shining in all directions aura of the purest kind of divine Saiyan energy would then encompass Dai and shoot straight into the sky with no end, shocking both Vegeta and Goku into standstill, their natural fears coming into play to stop their bodies from getting any closer. This is unreal! Leaving Goku not only forced to cover himself, struggling to maintain his footing, but also completely impressing the young Seraphim, as he finally witnesses just what true mastery of the form could look like. Damn this freak! But Vegeta would be more overcome by his fear of the power he senses than anything, as he soon begins to re-step his earlier boasts and proclamations, as he finally then lets out, No! I think we always needed Vegito after all! We're done for! As eventually, the all-encompassing light of Dai's power-up would soon dim, leaving the Grand Priest now to stare completely composed, once again, staring his prey in the eyes and saying, "Miserable insects, colluders with Lucif himself. Whatever trickery you've just used will not work a third time. I dare you to try and stop this." As quickly, almost without any visible movement at all, Dai would then place the edges of his fingertips and thumbs together to form a triangular position.
Oh, shit.
One which perfectly sits below the upside triangle
triangle.
already on his chest, as he confidently would then demand, "Stay still. You wanted to challenge me, didn't you? Don't run away now. Just think what your loved ones would have to say about that." What's that? As like two deer caught in headlights, both Vegeta and Goku would then stand their ground like statues, watching and thinking what their next possible move in the face of such ultimate power could even be. Divine Smite! As with both his seraphim eyes and cyan symbol on his
Shit.
forehead glowing bright,
over.
the Grand
He did
Priest
it.
would then suddenly scream out his intention to send down the two Saiyans, just as he did his elder brother. With the blast being so instant and so pinpointed on its arrival, time would literally slow down to a crawl, as both Goku and Vegeta almost feel their deaths before the light had even touched them, trapped
Okay.
within the confines of Dai's aim and guaranteed to be erased. And thus, within a fraction of a millisecond, a humongous blast of divine energy would be let loose and already reach completely the faces of the two Saiyans. Die! No! And in the brief time that they remain conscious, as they become blinded in their cyan luminescence, only wide eyes and wide mouths can be seen, with their desperation even causing tears to fall down the face of the hardened prince. The story of the God Killer has reached its conclusion once and for all. That would be until, in a completely unprecedented turn of events,
That's what I thought.
a solid black figure, shrouded in darkness, would appear instantaneously, soccer kicking Dai's entire smite straight into the air as if it were nothing. All the while, the Prince and Goku just watch on in disbelief from behind. Someone has returned, but it may not exactly be
Lucif.
Whoa! And lucky to even still be alive, Goku, nearly out of shocks to give, would just stare at the dark figure ahead, trying to figure out what had happened. As he mutters, "He just kicked that thing like it was nothing. It's not Lucif, it's... saved again!" As the trembling Vegeta, who had all but lost hope in surviving anything, would also look on in confusion, sensing the presence before him, but knowing it was different to what was sensed before. Is this really who I think it is?
Yep.
But how? This cannot be! But it would be the priest who would go through the greatest roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah,
as he simply is unable to comprehend how his elder brother could possibly be back. But when we begin to see the dark silhouette slowly turn to smoke, the iconic laughter seems to suggest the impossible after all. As the spiky-haired figure remains otherwise silent as he patiently waits for his real form to finally be visible to all. It feels so good to be back. What? As without a scratch, Ultra Lucid would return. Or at least, who we assume is him. But now completely transformed into Vegito's true demon state. His body covered in black fur, with the white sheep around his neck, 2 horns, and his demon tail floating behind. As with a cocky smile, finding joy in his opponent's shock, he would comment, "Surprised, priest? I told you, this show doesn't end until I have my revenge." Lucifer! How are you still here, you vile beast? I felt your smiting firsthand! Petrifying the priest instantly as his worst fears come to reality, suggesting even a divine smite would now not work somehow on his elder brother. Wow! I can't believe you're back!
He was crying.
But yet again, as if on a totally different page, the Omni King would be in tears once more. But this time, ones of pure joy as he lets out, "Vegito is back! This is the best show ever, Dai!" At least one of you knows who I am. As struggling to contain his own laughter, the God Killer would let out some ominous words, before looking down and continuing, "But as far as how I'm still alive, I'm afraid it's an old classic trick of mine." As he would then mysteriously reach into the back of his belt and try to reach for something small that would fit into the palm of his hand.
Wait, we finally got time range this.
Behold, the erasure of the last time ring in the multiverse.
Get that at.
As shocking, the demon Saiyan would then reveal in his hand the existence of one more time ring. One which has been used to revive him twice now, and thus is disappearing to nothingness right before everyone's eyes. As Vegito would say, "As I'm sure you already know, priest, this right here allows me to cheat death, any death, twice before they erase. It just so happens this ring had one life left, and now it's mine." What? A time ring? Stunning the Daishinkan, as of all things to have revived his brother, he did not expect it to be one he purposely ordered his student to destroy. As he recalls, "Z, I saw him destroy all of those. How can this be?" And Z2, observing from afar, would also be totally perplexed, as he visually remembers the exact moment he grabbed onto the God Killer's wrist and smited his time rings into oblivion, commenting, "It's true, Master Dai. I remember. There is no way, unless he was always hiding one." Hiding? Not quite. But with a dastardly look on his countenance, reeling in his
What you doing there,
outsmarting
nigga?
of these so-called gods, the true demon would finally then explain, "It seems you don't spend all hours of the day watching me. Perhaps you only watch when I fight your fellow divine brethren. But it was ironically in my fight with another mortal, the legendary assassin Hit, that I gave him a time ring to learn its secret.
Oh.
In all honesty, as time passed, especially after decades in the Pyramid of Power, I forgot entirely of his existence, let alone what I let him borrow. But it was when we reunited that he gave me a special handshake, with a special gift within his palm. That gift, of course, being the final time ring,
Okay.
still in
W
one
hit.
piece, and ready to give me that second chance I knew would be so inevitably needed. But that's not all. There's something else I knew it would be useful for. Damn it! Hit! The student of Cronoa! As infuriated with the situation and the use of godly tools to circumvent his own divine abilities, Dai would grumble with his teeth gritted. "These damn higher gods, polluting our realms with their devices! I was always against the creation of these time rings, and this is exactly why. Now even these mortals can nullify my attacks." Nullify? I wouldn't say entirely. But Vegito, who would now confidently place his hands on his hips, would then add in, "Your smite die was quite something. It got rid of a demon, all right, just not the right one." Like I said, the time rings had two uses for me in this battle. One was to revive me, but also to reset me back to my true self. I knew that damn devil Lucifer was increasingly taking over my body ever since the pyramid. And I knew if it wasn't those guards, you would be the one to eventually smite me. And that you did. Knocking back down Lucifer into my subconsciousness, back where he belongs. I am finally back now. Vegito is finally here! As in the background, we'd get a clear view of what Vegito was saying. Lucifer and his signature red eyes would be seen chained up and screaming, "Vegito! You will need my power again! Mark my words!"
Person.
But hearing this, suddenly, all of the priest's frustration would for some reason seem alleviated, as he would then say softly, "Lucifer? You say Lucifer was affected by my smite? Lucifer is no longer powering you like before. Meaning, I am now finally going to face the true God Killer. Wonderful! As instantly, a vibrant smile would encroach on the priest as his hands spread wide, and in a loud voice, he would proclaim, then this is nothing to worry about then, as I am now facing a demon several times weaker. My brother was one thing, and the risk of his full power being unleashed eventually was a concern. But you, a damn mortal, you will be dealt with even faster no matter what form you're in.
Okay, Dad.
I did warn the fool. The pride of you Saiyans was always going to be your ultimate downfall. I guess we are a silly bunch. Right, guys? As Vegito, humoring Guy's comments, would then smile and turn back to the duo, as they both would just mutter, Vegito, it's really you! With the God Killer responding, sorry if I worried you two, but Daddy's back. Seems you're no longer playing around either. Just what we'll need to win this. No more warm-ups. Finish your opponents off now. And join me in giving this little freak everything we've got. You hear me? As finally, in response, all three Saiyans would now have their morale entirely revitalized. Each with a smile on their face, and each powering up their bodies with an all-new level of confidence now that our hero, Ultra Vegito, is finally back. The real battle begins now.
Fire episode. I was getting a little sleepy at the end, but I mean, it tended to happen on the 48-minute video. I mean, you know, whatever. But shout out to CallMeARJ again. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Fire chapter, man. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.